I think that there's yes and no. I get it. I get where it's coming from. I get that there's there's big question marks over where the money comes from and that sort of thing. However, I'd also say that isn't a lot of the money from Saudi Arabia, isn't that coming from America and Europe buying oil from them in the first place? I don't know. That sort of, there's a bit of full circle about that, and I think there's a bit of hypocrisy really in terms of how the European tour have been involved with Dubai and Abu Dhabi and those things for a long time. DP World sponsor the European tour now, and yeah, I think it's a lot more complicated than just going, these guys do bad things. Like there's, you turn the scope the other way, the British and the Americans don't do the best things all the time either. So, yeah.
And finally, what about you?
Yep, like I say, competition is always good. So you need change in it. We need the game to keep moving. I think this is a fresh look to it. I think it will bring a lot of young people into golf. It was kind of dying out. They tried football golf, which I just think has never caught on really. So I think this will bring a fresh look and hopefully a new generation to golf.
Well, again, we were discussing this earlier. Actually, it's potentially you're spreading Western values by exposing this type of event to more of the world. So actually this can have an influence on internationally, how the way nations and the way people operate effectively. So I think it could have a positive impact rather than a negative impact, by effectively spreading Western values, you could argue.
Again, I totally agree. I don't think the players have been allowed to say this at this point because obviously they're tied to contracts, they're earning lots of money from this event. But I think it will educate rather than segregate people, and that's what I hope it does. I don't agree with anything that the guys do over there in their countries, but who are we to judge? But I believe it will be better for human rights, I think, long term, and that's what I hope.
We were talking about that on the way up here, and I think you see some of the build-up, and it's quite unfair putting golfers in unfair situations where they have to decide where their money comes from. They're the best at what they do, and they should have the choice in where they want to play, free reign. I think the PGA Tour is a bit of a monopoly, and I think Americans are naturally quite biased towards the PGA Tour. But everyone in the rest of the world deserves, to see the best caliber of player where they live or where they go. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think. In fast forward 25 years or something, and people will be looking back at this going, why were we umming and ahhing about it? Because, it could become a mainstream event, and hopefully it will, like the Open, and then dare I say in the same sentence, but like things like that. And I also think if they don't do it, someone else is going to take the opportunity, aren't they? So
Justified?
No, I think it's pretty unfair. Like I saw Graham McDowell and Ian Poulter and Lee Westwood getting some pretty tight lines of questioning around funding, where money's coming from, this, that, and the other. I think it's mainly unfair. Like, you can understand the rationale for why people choose to go and play golf where they play golf, to an extent. But I think it's a bit. There's a tinge of jealousy there from other tours that feel like they're missing out, and players who are moving to LIV. Fair play to them. To give my honest opinion, I think various countries around the world are act to be blameless, act to be faultless. Obviously nothing's perfect for Saudi Arabia, say, but to call it sports washing, this is, I wouldn't say purely sports washing. I think there's some good intent behind growing the game of golf here and taking it to a more global level. So I wouldn't say it's purely sports washing, no.
I think some interviews have been a bit harsh, but then again, if you're being interviewed, I suppose you got to take it on the chin and answer as you would. I think a lot of the players are probably expecting some of the comments that they've got, or some of the interviewed questions, should I say. So they're probably pre-prepared anyway by the media teams or whatever to answer. Harsh, probably yes, with some of it, I would say. But again, it's media, isn't it? So it generates from those harsh comments. It will generate clicks for everybody on social media to go and have a look at them. So that's probably why they're doing it, because it attracts attention.
Yeah, I think there are good reasons people are questioning the event. I guess it's a question of being able to separate sport from politics or human rights or whatever. I think that's the quandary the players have been in, is they're attaching themselves to an event which by definition has a bit of a label attached to the sponsor, and I guess they have to live with that, and I'm sure they're ready to.
I'd say, I think for the players, money's money. So I feel like they play in Saudi Arabia, so PGA Tour plays in Saudi Arabia, so like it's quite hard to say this is completely to all hate on this one just because it's getting funded from Saudi Arabia. Like for the players, I see why they're taking part, because more money is more money. Obviously, if you see where the money's coming from, then I guess you can see why people like Rory McIlroy might not take part. But in my opinion, if the opportunity's there and the money's good, and if you can, might as well take it. That's what I think.
I mean, the sort of money is hard to turn down, isn't it? And I fully respect the guys that have come out and said, "I'm here for the money." Why not? You know, if someone asked me tomorrow, do the same job, but for 3, 4, 5 times as much as I got last week, then who's going to say no? So yeah, I respect those that are honest. Maybe not so much those that aren't as honest, but are here.
Yeah, well, Lee Westwood came out and said he was an advocate of the concept. I kind of don't believe that. I think he's been paid several $1 million just for an appearance fee. I think it's all about the money. Well, there's an obvious concern with sport washing, but let's not pretend that the PGA Tour haven't done that. The European Tour have done that. Boxing does it, and the FIFA World Cup is going to Qatar. So anyone who criticises them for that shouldn't watch the World Cup. Shouldn't watch the World Cup.
Yeah, like what the lads just said there is like, golf's not the bad guy here. Like, for people to start taking the moral high ground now, it's way too late. That ship sailed. Qatar, PSG, Saudi boxing. It's like, get with the program, guys. It's way too late, and it's nothing you can do about it. You can't rewind, and it's not golf's fault.